I'm a lefty, and I want to challenge Jeffrey Dorfman, if that's how you pronounce your name, to a debate about this particular piece. And I just wanted to say, I'll put this link in the underbar, but it says 10 essential economic truths liberals need to learn. Today's political climate is highly partisan. Debates are full of personal attacks, harsh words, and complete disagreements as one side clings tightly to strongly held beliefs. Part of the difficulty with reaching the compromises necessary to get things done in Washington is that the two parties believe so many opposite theories that, with each side sure that their opinions represent fact. With that in mind, here are 10 economic facts that the liberals need to learn. Now, I'm already having a disagreement with you, Jeffrey. See, it's curious, but look, I'm just gonna scan and see that. Look, I hope my viewers can get a view over all this page. Look all over it. You know, I scroll to the bottom all the way. I look for anything in terms of citations, and this is the Wikipedia and objection, you know, objection on this paragraph, citation necessary, you know, it's the Wikipedia protest, Wikipedia, citation needed. I'm having that sentiment towards this, a thing. And the reason why I'm having that sentiment towards this, Jeffrey, is just that I have my own thoughts when it comes to economics, and you can. I want to explain a couple of things to you. I am a big fan of Predictably Irrational as a book, as a concept, and one of the things that has been washing over me in terms of economic insight is very different than the economic insights that you're having, in the sense that I think that what you've just put forward here is something that you've thought up yourself, right? And it's your own logic, and it's what you're. What's it's not. These are axioms, logical conclusions that you think are one necessarily follows the other in your head, right? But my objection to this particular paragraph is just that, first of all, humans are not entirely rational creatures. I mean, humans do all kinds of things that are, that economists, if they observed, would call irrational. If they got it and they got it under the microscope and could actually see it. And the problem, in such a huge way, is that we get a lot of these preachy articles like yours. Your article doesn't really actually come across in a way that is educational, because it actually is prescriptive economics. You're trying to tell people what the truth is and what your prescription is, like you're a doctor. But the job of an economist is not to be a doctor to the economy. The job of an economist really should be to uncover and discover how the economy actually works. And to do that, rationalism as a school of thought, the same way that, like, and I would give the Austrian School of Economics the exact same objection. Like, I don't believe them ultimately, and the reason why I don't believe them is because citation needed. You know, the problem with so much of the Austrians is that they don't have empirical testing. Their ideas. They just think that they can deduce economic law from what they think is rational thought. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that a lot of times, like, economists have had a history of making predictions about what would happen, or what the market's most rational move would be, only to watch the market actually do something other than what economists said was the most rational. They made a prediction, like, for instance, if you raise the minimum wage in the state, there's necessarily going to be a lot of unemployment. They didn't realize that when unemployment went up, for instance, that business owners were not always necessarily going to do what was the most rational thing in response to you know, uh, rising, uh, minimum wage. I mean, business owners were actually turned out to be considerably more, economically quote unquote irrational than economists predicted when that happened. And today, unemployment numbers haven't really fallen all that much in Seattle after the rise in its own minimum wage. I mean, this is the problem I'm having so much and with economics and as a profession is that economists are never punished when they get it wrong, and on top of that, so there's no discipline. If you screw up, if you're like if you turned out to be incompetent at your job, Jeffrey, and you turned out to be very wrong in this debate, and I reamed you a new one, and completely proved. Even if I won this debate, that I'm bringing against your piece, the truth of the matter is that what would end up happening is pretty much nothing. Nothing would come of it. You would still be allowed to continue going on and preaching the same way that you are right now, and the same way that you keep doing. Even if I schooled you and tore you a new anus on this one, they would, it doesn't matter. None of it matters because there's never any accountability. Economists never lose their jobs for screwing up, you know, and that's it drives me crazy. Like there's no accountability for economists at all, and that's a big problem, you know. So, Jeffrey, I don't mean to be like exceptionally rude. It's just that humans are not entirely rational creatures. So, the whole school of rationalism is not useful for deducing economic law. You can't just think in your head and figure out how the economy works. You're gonna have to actually go out and conduct experiments on things to figure it out.